the wrong idea. It's the wrong vision. In fact, it's the lack of vision which plays itself out on a large scale. This is about who we are, and what we want for our children and grandchildren. Amen. You have nominated an outstanding list of candidates for office. And you need to do everything in your power to make sure that they're elected, and that Jim Himes is elected, and that Chris Murphy is elected, and that Barack Obama is elected. You're aware of my losing my voice. Let me just say this. Let me take this apart for a minute. Jim Himes did an outstanding job in very difficult circumstances. We need to do everything in our power, as well as making sure state rep and state candidates win, to make sure that he is returned to the Congress of the United States, where he has been an outstanding voice. Now let me talk about this race for the United States Senate for a second.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
We have a candidate who is actually speaking to the issues. Now, some of you may have seen the debate the other day. I mean, that wasn't a debate. That wasn't a debate. That was one person who knew something, who had an opinion, who understood the issues that confront our state, and he spoke about them. And then we had someone else who is continuing what we're seeing play itself out on a national basis. And that is this idea that we can recreate ourselves on a weekly basis. We can be something entirely different this week than we were last week, or that we were 2 or 3 weeks ago. That we don't actually have to have any strongly held beliefs. We can be for DOMA one day and against DOMA another day. We can be for civil rights one day and against those rights another day. We can say we stand with women when it comes to their reproductive choices one day, and we can be against those choices on another day. In fact, that's what's playing itself out. That's what's going on here. You saw it last week in a debate where our president didn't perform particularly well, but you know what was interesting? It was the outstanding acting that was done by the Republican candidate. We think Ronald Reagan is the actor. I mean, look at that. This was the Etch-a-Sketch candidate. So listen, we need to do all our work. We need to get our votes out. We need to stand for our outstanding candidates for representative and state senator and the House and the Senate and Barack Obama, and we need to make sure that people understand that we stand for our fellow citizens. That there is a difference between being a Democrat and a Republican. Some of you might be Republicans, and if I offend you, I apologize. But let me say this: when you drill down to the core differences that remain between the Republicans and the Democrats. Now, listen, I grew up in Stamford, Connecticut. We had lots of Republican friends. Republicans were conservative, but they also cared about the environment with as great a rigor, if not greater, than the Democratic Party. They argued the case of smaller government, not larger government, but they stood shoulder to shoulder in the civil rights movement and making sure that we were going to make the changes that we needed to make for women, for blacks and Hispanics, for people who decided to live their life a different way than other folks. They stood there. But this is not what this is about anymore. We, in this room, measure ourselves by the success of our community, of our neighbors, of our friends in that community. We don't decide how wealthy we are or what's happened in our life, and that decides whether we were a success or not. We say, what happened on my street? What happened in my neighborhood? What happened in my town of Greenwich? Are we lifting all of our citizens up? Are we rebuilding the nursing home? Are we caring for our schools? Are we making sure that those who are poorest among us are having an equal opportunity that we have? We are people who care about one another. And I want this nation, and I want this state, to send that message on Election Day. And I understand you're outgunned more often than not here in Greenwich. But I can tell you, you've made the difference in my life on a couple of occasions. In a primary that I needed to win, in a general election that I only won by 6,445 votes, not including the 1,500 they never got around to counting in Bridgeport. We stand for something. This is important stuff. And let us rise to this occasion, locally, congressionally, statewide office, and nationally. And let no one doubt who we are and what we believe in. And that is the fair and equitable distribution of opportunity, and the fair and equitable distribution of success in our community, in our schools, and in our nation. That's what we're about. That's why we're here tonight, and that's why you're probably tired of listening to me, because you already all believe it. So let's go out and make sure it happens on election day.